here we are, 1333 19th Street, near DuPont Circle in DC, and this was the big step. This was Buffalo Billiards. Bedrock Billiards was going great, Atomic Billiards was going great. Mark and I each were running one of these things, and a real estate broker friend of ours showed us this giant space. It's 13,000 feet. It's completely gutted. It had been a nightclub called Numbers in Chicago before that. We're like, whoa, that's too big, crazy. We'll just take half of it. So we started thinking about it, and it's a pretty good little neighborhood. Had a lot of office, had enough residential. And then one night, I was going to sleep, and I thought, well, if we fill up 13,000 feet on Friday and Saturday once a month, this place is going to be a success. So we changed our idea and decided to take the whole thing, and we had to raise $1 million, which you might as well have said $1 billion to us then. But we broke it down. We said, okay, friends, family, and fools, we'll figure out how to raise that money. I got my brother to help work on it. Again, a whole group of crazy craftspeople. I drove across the country with Travis Smith, my designer. We bought all kinds of crazy things, covered wagons, all sorts of cowboy stuff, and we built Buffalo Billiards. So the first night, we were going to have a party, sort of a grand opening party, and we had it all scheduled. And we decided, okay, we're going to have a band, and we're going to do all this stuff. Well, we didn't get our close-in permit. We didn't have a liquor license. We didn't have any kind of licenses whatsoever, but we'd already scheduled the party. So we're like, well, fuck it, we're going to have the party. It was giant. We had an occupancy of about 500 people, and there were easily 1,000 people in here. We had a live band all night, no license for live music. We've got the news cameras come in, Channel 9, Channel 7, Channel 5, Channel 4. They're interviewing, they're telling everybody, wow, look at this great new place. And we're like, man, we are so cooked. But apparently nobody in DC and alcohol enforcement watches the news because nobody knocked on the door. A couple weeks later, we were actually able to legally open, and the place was packed from day one. Ran great for 25 years, and we were trying to extend the lease when WeWork bought the building, and I think they had their arms wrapped around Swingers, the crazy golf club, and they didn't want Buffalo Billiards. They said, we don't think it's the right fit for the neighborhood. Well, we've been here for 25 years, and we paid rent on time, every month. I think it was a pretty good fit, but doesn't matter, that's business.
For Buffalo Billiards, it's one last 8-ball in the corner pocket. The bar in DuPont Circle closes tomorrow. A new landlord decided not to renew the lease, but it was a good run, 25 years. Tomorrow, Buffalo Billiards will celebrate its final last call with a party, and patrons can buy the decor that's been hanging on the walls. All the proceeds will benefit the anti-poverty group So Others Might Eat.
They took us out. Next thing you know, the pandemic hit, so maybe that was a good thing. When we were cleaning out Buffalo, I came up the stairs here. I was carrying bull horns or something, and there was a guy standing right here, and he was just about crying. And I said, hey, how you doing? He said, hey, I introduced myself as one of the owners. And he said, man, I'm so sad to see this place go. He said, Buffalo Billiards was the perfect place in my life. He said, I could come after work with my office mates. We could just hang out after a hard day's work, just have a couple beers and relax, play some pool. He said, I could bring a date here. If the date was good, we would pay for the pool table and just sit there and talk. If it wasn't good, we'd play pool. He said I could come here with my bros before, whatever, going out and hang out and watch a game and eat burgers and drink beer. He could come here before dinner, after dinner. He just said this place could do everything. And he said, I'm going to miss it so much. And I'd never thought about Buffalo in that way. I never thought about all those little things that it satisfied in the city. When we opened, we had a giant, a 6 by 12 foot snooker table. You could play football on the thing. But we had all these embassy people around here, and they loved snooker, and they'd come in and play snooker. We ended up getting rid of it because it literally took up so much floor space. And we started with 31 pool tables, and eventually we got down to about 20 pool tables and a bunch of shuffleboard and pop-a-shop basketball and some skee ball and more sort of things to do. We had 2 private party rooms. We were booked for private parties just nonstop. The thing was a runaway train. It was incredible. In fact, Buffalo Billiards allowed me to become a full-time bar owner and operator. Bedrock and Atomic, we sort of dabbled in it. Buffalo was when we realized, both of us, Mark and I, that we were professionals in the bar business and that this was something that we could actually do for the long term. We had great staff here. We had a huge cigar business. We were selling cigars. This is all when you could still smoke indoors. They've covered over the patio. It used to come really all the way to this door, and then all the way there. And, you know, you just hear the noise coming up from the patio of Buffalo down below. They gave us this shitty little sign. They didn't want us to have any signage, but that didn't matter. People could find it. Ted Danson came here one time and was playing in some bluegrass band that I don't even know how he ended up. We were playing bluegrass with Ted Danson. That was crazy. We'd show live MMA fights, and we had one night, I mean, again, our occupancy was 499, and there must have been 1,500 people in there for this MMA fight. And I looked around, I was like, never again. Because when the fight ended, everybody wanted to leave. But in the same way that we'd had a line to get in, a line formed to leave, and everybody was super calm, but that could have been a disaster. Yeah, Buffalo is kind of sad. Good luck to swingers, but I don't think it can hold a candle to what Buffalo was. I think Buffalo had a charm and a place in the city that hasn't been duplicated. And we've thought about trying to open another Buffalo somewhere, but part of it was the timing. Our neighbor was the Front Page restaurant that had been here before we opened. Now it's Syracuse University. You'd never know walking down the street about the history of Buffalo Billiards and how important it was to DC. Thanks for joining me on this little sad trip down memory lane. Every time I drive down 19th Street, I give a little nod to Buffalo. While we can't go down to Buffalo and play a game of pool and have a drink, I got plenty more bars, and I look forward to seeing you at one of those.